Hi, 8th graders. Welcome back. Today we're learning about Spanish Louisiana and statehood. Our goals today are to be able to describe Louisiana's Spanish colonial period and its early statehood period. Last time we were together, we talked about how Louisiana began as a French colony after La Salle claimed Louisiana for France. We learned that Louisiana did not do very well as a colony, but France was trying to hang on to it because they wanted access to that Mississippi River for trade. Today, we're going to talk about what leads Louisiana to being secretly traded to the Spanish, how it did under the Spanish, and then how Louisiana ended up an American state. So we know that the French and Indian War was fought between the British and the French, and in the end, France loses this war. So before France loses the French and Indian War, they decide to secretly trade the colony of Louisiana to its Spanish ally. They do this because they know they're going to lose the war, and they don't want the British to end up with Louisiana. So because of this secret treaty, Louisiana becomes a Spanish colony, even though Louisiana is made up of mostly French settlers. So when we look at this map, we see that the North America was filled with green. Here we see a Spanish, French, and British. After the French and Indian War, France is completely wiped out of the map. It's just Spanish and it's just British. And the Spanish get a lot of that land that was once French. So let's kind of get in the heads of the kings at this time. We have King Louis of France. He owns Louisiana. And we have his cousin, King Carlos of Spain. Both of them like each other, and they both dislike King George of England. So, friends of King Louis and King Carlos, they both find King George awful. France is losing its war to England. So, right before the war ends, France trades Louisiana to Spain to keep it out of the hands of Great Britain, which is in the United Kingdom. So despite early protests from the French colonists, the Louisiana colony was more successful under the Spanish. So we heard about how the French colony was just failure after failure, business owner after business owner. The Spanish are much more stable and they bring more prosperity to the colony. Still, the French colonists grumble about it at first. The Spanish send Governor Ulloa to take over the colony after the secret trade happens. The colonists chase him out with guns and militia. So then the Spanish bring Governor Alejandro O'Reilly. He gets the nickname Bloody O'Reilly because he kills everyone responsible for kicking out Ulloa. And O'Reilly is the man that really just cements the Spanish own this colony now. You're part of a Spanish colony. So they're a Spanish colony with a French-speaking population. During this time, the Spanish oversee two new cultural groups immigrating to Louisiana. The first are the Acadians. They get known as the Cajuns. And the second is the Isleños. Cultural elements from both groups can be seen today in Louisiana. We have like Cajun cooking and Cajun traditions, and then Spanish dishes from the Isleños. The Acadians were from Nova Scotia, it's in Canada, but after the French and Indian War, this once French territory becomes British. So the British tell them you either need to be loyal to us or you need to get out. They choose to leave. So they take boats and they go all the way around to Louisiana. The Spanish at this time are like, we need people. We just like we're not doing that well. We would like to do better. We need more people. So they welcome the people from Nova Scotia. They settle in what's known as the Acadian Triangle and create their own Cajun culture that's still around today. And the Isleños, you see a lot of them in St. Bernard Parish. This is a picture from the Isleños Festival where people dress up in the traditional clothes of the people from the time period that they arrived. And the Isleños bring a lot of Spanish elements to our culture. There are a lot of different cultural groups in Louisiana during Spanish period. First, we have the French and Spanish. I lumped them together because both of them were Catholic. And Catholic, we know, is a form of a Christian religion, and Mardi Gras is connected to the Catholic religion. The reason why we have more Catholics in Louisiana than the rest of the country is because of our French and Spanish heritage. We also have the Acadians and Cajuns. They're also Catholic because they have French culture. Those are the people that were expelled from Canada after the French and Indian War. The Isleños, like we said, come from the Canary Islands. That was a Spanish colony, and they settle in St. Bernard Parish in order to increase our Spanish population. The Germans come from Germany. They help build the Louisiana colony. So early on, they come in as laborers, but over time, they begin farming and they assimilate with the French. That means that they kind of take on French culture. And after a couple of generations, you really can't tell the difference between who was French born and who was German born. And finally, the Africans. Africans were forced to come to Louisiana. It was an involuntary migration. Many of them build the colony. The French don't do a lot of the hard work. The Germans and the Africans do a lot of the hard work. And we know that Louisiana becomes a colony with a very large free people of color population. So a reminder of where we've been. We have the French and Indian War beginning. The Acadians get kicked out of Canada. France secretly trades Louisiana to Spain in the Treaty of Fontainebleau. Ulloa arrives. The colonists revolt. They kick him out. O'Reilly comes in. He kills everyone who, protested. The Isleños begin coming to Louisiana. Louisiana colonists then support the American troops in the American Revolution. And then Spain trades Louisiana back to France. So France begs for the colony back and kind of forces Spain to give it back. And now the colony is Spanish or French again until a slave revolt in Haiti. So the whole reason that Napoleon wants Louisiana back for France is that Haiti is his sugar producing colony. There are a lot of enslaved people, and so he wants to produce sugar in Haiti, food in Louisiana, and send that food to Haiti so they can grow more sugar. There is a successful slave revolt in Haiti, and France loses that colony. This changes Louisiana in a couple of different ways. One, a large number of Haitian immigrants move to New Orleans. Two, France decides they're just going to get out of North America. Napoleon is done with this. He's just lost this war. He's lost a lot of money. He has wars in Europe. He just wants out. So he looks for a way to get rid of the colony as quickly as possible. Thomas Jefferson happens to send someone to negotiate for the colony, so Napoleon gives them all of the land for just $15 million. To be honest, the United States really only wanted New Orleans because they wanted to control that port, but they take all of that land because it's a really great deal. And so now the United States has doubled in size and they have control of that Mississippi River trade. If you control the mouth, you control the whole river. That's so important. The Mississippi River is so important to Louisiana's history because of trade. So now Louisiana is owned by the United States. They send a man, William C.C. Claiborne. You may recognize that name because Claiborne Avenue is named after him. He comes in to become the first territorial governor. For a while, Louisiana is just a territory, and Claiborne is in charge of overseeing it. He deals with the hostilities between the Americans and the Creoles. America is sending more and more Americans. Their culture is different. Their language is different. Everything about them is different. The Creoles, who are of French and Spanish descent and mostly speak French, and African descent, sorry, they don't like this new culture and new group coming in. So the two groups clash a lot. However, the Battle of New Orleans helps to bring them together. They all have a common enemy, the British, and they come together to fight against them. Over time, Louisiana earns its statehood into America. And under the Americans, the laws that restricted the rights of enslaved Africans and free people of color were strengthened. So the lives of people of color, enslaved and free, became much worse under the American rule. And so there we have the full history up until Louisiana's statehood. Natives are first, then the French, then the Spanish, then the French for a couple minutes, and then the Americans. And Louisiana has been an American state ever since. If you finish early, answer these review questions on your paper. You have a great day.